bright. Do a pot of boil, bickle not enough. River flood and rain a fall. Rain a fall, but dirty tough. Nowadays the time so hard, when you ask Maddie how them do, them afraid you take it, tell them back so them no answer you. No care how much with a work for hard times, still in our shot. With a fight, our time a beat we. They might raise we wages, but £1 gone and pound we pay and we no feel no merriment. For £10 gone and pound we food and £10 pound we rent. Saltfish gone up, mackerel gone up, beef and pork gone up same way. And when rice and butter ready, them just go up a holiday. Cloth, boot, pin and needle gone up. Ice bread taxes, water rate, kerosene, oil, gasoline gone up. And the pound devaluate. The price of bread gone up so high that we have to agree to cut we hype and bread and all turn dumpling refugee. And all them Marcus Maddy, whether go on like fatty sin, all them they whether fast with me, I left them to dumpling. Sun a shine and pot a boil, but things not bright. Bickle not enough. River flood, rain a fall, but water scarce and dirty tough.
Welcome to Studio 58A live here on the Jamaica Information Facebook page. Jamaica Information Service, JIS Facebook page. I'm your host, Vanessa Silvera, and thanks for joining me wherever you are in the world. Now, we are discussing the activities for Miss Lou 100, and my guests today are orator at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts, Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, and with her is Director of Policy and Research at the National Cultural and Creative Industries Council in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Him named David Brown. What a long title, sir. Remember to send in your questions and comments so we can put it to our guests. And since you're here, don't keep all of this nice goodness to yourself for the discussion. Then pass it along and share the video so we can lively up the thing. Welcome, lady, and welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, hearty.
Yeah, man.
You know, you're hearty.
Can't less than hearty when we're talking about Louise Bennett.
All right, so you're both members of the Miss Lou 100 National Planning Committee, right? And so we're going to be talking about the discussion, the activities today. So far, we've had the cake cutting, we've had the civic ceremony. Her birthday has actually passed. Talk about some of the other activities that persons can look forward to.
All right, well, as you rightly said, we had the civic ceremony. Today is the 12th, same anniversary as Gilbert. Earlier this morning, the National Library of Jamaica had an event called Unlocking the Miss Lou Archives that started about 10 this morning. And there are, as you will appreciate, 100 days of activities from her birthday that will celebrate Miss Lou, both locally and abroad. Particularly in Canada, in Toronto, where there's this big community that celebrates and reveres Miss Lou. So let me just read for the rest of September some of the major activities. So on the 14th, there's going to be A Little Miss Lou, how Jamaican poet Louise Bennett Coverly found her voice. And that's a different book list cultural center in Toronto. On the 17th, Miss Lou at Bathurst Heights Secondary School, film screening and panel discussion at Founders College, also in Toronto. On the 19th, Miss Lou Celebration Canada at the Harbourfront Centre in Toronto. And on the 26th, the declaration of Miss Louise Bennett, Honorable Louise Bennett Park, at the University of the West Indies, Mona. And we close off September with the launch of Jamaican official Just Do It at the University of the West Indies, Mona.
All right, we'll
finish up some more during the discussion.
Right, so we have a little of this and we have a little of that at home and abroad.
Right.
So why was it important for us to honor her on this the year of her centenary? All right. Dr. Amina will take, we'll ask you to take that one.
The $100 million question. For some of us, the answer is so obvious that whatever is not memorialized will be forgotten. And there are so many things about ourselves that we have not documented on paper or in our heads or in our hearts. There are some things that if you say 9/11 around the world knows what you're talking about.
Right.
And even here, we forget that we've had our own 9/11. You mentioned Hurricane Gilbert.
Right.
But we could talk about Peter Tosh,
Right.
who was assassinated. We could talk about so many other things. Steve Biko in South Africa. So many other important things about ourselves. And so, to me, it is critical that on the 100th anniversary of the birth of this great Jamaican who did so much through culture to document our history, our social history, our language history, that people who come after us and who come after her should have an understanding of their becoming. Our becoming is longer than the period of time in which we have been alive. And Miss Lou has played such a critical role that her name should never be forgotten, and her works should always be studied in the way me not call her name now, do you know? Them give us some things named English literature that them pretend say if you don't know these names and if you haven't studied these works, you're not somebody. But we have people right here who have been so important to world civilization that the rest of the world don't know about, and we don't call them uncivilized. So it is very important. The Africans have a proverb that says the only time somebody dies is when the last person talk them name. And there is so much to know about Miss Lou that we can't imagine when the last person gets a chance to talk her name.
All right, for posterity, what are we doing to ensure that our children get involved in this, actively participate and learn? Because we can make a whole heap of noise and we can celebrate and we can feel good in ourselves, but if we don't pass on knowledge, then it is probably or arguably all for naught. So what are we doing to ensure that the children learn and get involved?
You know, say posterity begin the second after you ask a question there. Once upon a time is now. It don't happen 20 years from now. It happens because of what we're doing now. And so we need to salute the JCDC, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, who has always had something from Louise Bennett Coverly in the catalogue that children perform and adults perform from in the annual festival competitions.
Right.
And then we need to salute our teachers who ensure that the children are taught this. Even when they're doing the maypole dance, you know, and you say, what that have to do with Miss Lou? Them in them little bandana dresses. So things are being done. There is more that can be done. I see David shaking his head. So I'm going to put a little pause. And
No,
let
I'm
him
thinking
in.
that Amina really is a little, she's probably too modest. But the whole thing I just started with Jamaica Day, for argument's sake. Every time I pass and I see especially the students, the young students, in their, not just the Jamaica colors, but sometimes the boys wear the bandana, bush jackets. The young girls are always decked out in the Miss Lou. Even on Miss Lou's, the Friday before Miss Lou's birthday the other day, some schools had Miss Lou Day.
Yes.
And it's just so nice, so heartwarming to see, you know, the students celebrating this thing. You see, as Amina rightly said, we and generations yet to come, unless we provide a platform for them to rememory what took place before, you're going to lose it. The importance of Miss Lou, you know, cannot really be understated or overstated. Because for me, when I was growing up, there was often this great ambivalence about how it is you deal with Jamaican language.
Right.
I, for instance, was oftentimes reprimanded when I used to talk Jamaican. Not even bad word, you know, just Jamaican. And that,
tell you, say, yeah, chat bad.
yeah, man.
Speak properly.
Yeah, man. And to this day, I hear it when I go to my son's school, for argument's sake. I've heard a teacher admonish a child about that. And it is that real problem that we have with recognizing and understanding what is ourselves, what is who we are, who makes us or who tells us what is good for us. When it is the thing that has carried us through. The first thing, when I travel, and in an elevator with a foreigner, oh, you're Jamaican, right? The first thing they come off the plane or so, they want to say something in Jamaican. Wagwan. Remember President Obama. Wagwan, Jamaica. Why is it that people from abroad or outside of our shores share this thing and celebrate this thing, and we still have this ongoing debate about if it is that something that we should celebrate or accept or not?
But this is the perfect time to continue, maybe even formalize the discussion surrounding the Jamaican language, probably making it an official language. I know the Jamaican language unit is doing something where that is concerned. How is the government involved in all of that?
Well, that it is being led in association with the University of the West Indies. Mm-hmm. But I want to ensure that we recognize that it's right now it's at the stage of a conversation that we're having. Because, as I said, of the many issues surrounding how people feel and treat what is the Jamaican language, it is certainly grounds for greater and wider discussion and public discussion. So at this stage, the government, certainly at the Ministry of Culture's level, is really still having discussions with several stakeholders to see how we move forward on that particular topic. There are many, as you will appreciate, many opinions on how that should be dealt with.
Many McAfee joke you.
Yes.
Because the Ministry of Education has a project called TOESL, the Teaching of English as a Second Language.
Right.
And that begs the question, therefore, what is the first language?
Right.
And what is taking us so long to say?
But if we take the cue from UNESCO, I put another hat now because I'm one of the UNESCO facilitators for intangible cultural heritage. UNESCO has stated that children from 0 to 5 years old should be taught in what is called their mother tongue. Mm-hmm. Thereafter, whatever else is taught in or spoken in that particular territory should be treated as a foreign language. What people don't recognize already, is that many times our students already treat standard English as a foreign language.
Right.
And the difficulties they have in formal education, the formal education system, is because we keep muddying that water and not dealing with it the way in it which it should be dealt with.
And just for clarity, we're not saying that we should disregard and just do away with English altogether. There is a place for both.
But why does that even enter the discussion? At all. Mm-hmm. We don't have to compare. We don't have to pull down one. We're just saying this is a language. No. And our brain has space to learn as many languages as we have time to be taught. Indeed. It isn't about putting away one. It isn't about one having a time and a place. And that is part of the disrespect that we have paid to our own national. It's something you perform. Right. When you stop performing it now, if you say it, farm the fool. So stop farming the fool. It's important to note that the 100 days of celebration for Louise Bennett culminates on December 10, which is International Human Rights Day.
Right.
And that gives us an opportunity, as is in the program, to look at the rights, the cultural rights of our people and the right to a language. We have a language that much of it cannot be translated, like everybody else have, But I remember a friend of mine, a professor at the University of the West Indies, who reads Russian, saying that he was reading a Russian text and they were discussing Jamaican culture. And all of a sudden he came across a word which he didn't know in Russian. And him said, where this word come from? And him look again, the word is overstand. The Russian author could not translate overstand into anything in a Russian. So him just put it back in the text. And if you don't overstand it, too bad. But it's there. So we don't need the comparisons. We just need to know that language represents a way of viewing the world. When the peasants, from whom the Rastaman developed the language, by the way, because the peasants have a way of making the language. When I would say to my mother, arm, she would say, you're not on a foot. Can't find a foot. And she wasn't a Rasta.
Yeah.
But when the Rasta man say overstand, him know him a talk about. When him don't want to say hello, and you say hello and him say heaven high, him know him a talk about. And it's not just a joke. It's something deeply philosophical, resistant even of the wider context of oppression. It's a very important debate that we need to have.
It is. And speaking of debate, let's bring you into the discussion. We have Ricardo, one of our top fans. Hello, Ricardo Porteous. You are... Hello to Mr. David. Do you all think that Miss Lou should be a national heroine of Jamaica? We can take that on a little bit from now. Mr. Brown, I think he knows you. He's sending big ups and shout out.
Big up.
We also have Zidane Jabez. Thanks for the enlightenment. Amina Blackwood Meeks. Candice Kristen says, what is being done to promote Miss Lou's legacy in schools? I think we addressed that question earlier, but if anybody wants to follow up, that would be great. So let's go to Ricardo's question about making Miss Lou a national hero, and then we'll continue with some more questions and comments.
I think that's an area for public education. And what I mean by that is that a national hero or heroine is not something you willy-nilly do. There were people who sat down and established the criteria by which someone could be proclaimed or declared a national hero. And in order for the wider society to participate more meaningfully in that, and I appreciate and recognize and applaud that the population wants to have a say in it. But the population should be equipped with what the criteria are. They might say change it. They might say it don't apply. They might say there are so many people who, in their estimation, qualify as heroes who the criteria don't apply to. But at least the nation, calling for the nation to be informed of what are the criteria for national hero status.
Okay. All right. Rosie Foster. She says, I grew up with Master Ran and Miss Lou. And even we often talk about Miss Lou without Master Ran. And he was kind of her partner in culture. I don't want to say partner in crime. But we also celebrate Master Ran at another point in the year. Cassandra Reed. She says, I hate it when Jamaicans say a chat too bad. Learn to speak English. KMT. Yeah, we had that discussion earlier where David was talking about recently, a recent experience where he heard a teacher reprimanding a student for talking too bad or badly. Rosie, she says, yes, about time. Kristen, again, how will the renaming of Gordon Town Square to Miss Lou Square positively benefit the community? All right, who wants to take that one?
You can't pass it and don't say Miss Lou. You have to say Miss Lou.
You can't pass it and don't see it.
Exactly.
Right. Because, you have the Miss Lou statue now. We're going to be putting a plaque there shortly.
Right.
And you want to put her name on something that can last. Right? So 100 years from now when tourists come and they say...
No, tourists don't have to come.
Then listen, you don't have to mix up. But
no,
a tourist is a visitor, whether local or international.
I am making a point that Miss Lou would make. We're not doing it for tourists first. We're doing it because we deserve it.
But you and I, when we go there, we are tourists.
No. So we understand tourists.
Okay.
We understand people who come with a different kind of money in their pocket. And they go up there and
I mean visitors in general.
And they look and they take a picture with the goat to run past and them send a thing and say, goat run past the statue. That's what a tourist do. We're talking about me, David, you, our people. In the same way, our friends at the Bob Marley Museum tell me that very often when they see adults coming, it's the children who say, Bob Marley have a place, and the parents say, make us go. That's what we want. A child to say, Miss Lou, me only hear the Miss Lou name. And the mother say, all right, come make me show you the statue. And make me show you Garden Town.
Right.
And make me show you where she used to live.
Right.
So that she becomes a real, organic, attached to who we are and how we see ourselves outside of the lenses of others. Because David mentioned earlier the whole business of when foreigner hear the Jamaican language, them want it. And maybe it will be that it don't become official till some foreign place say them invent it. We don't want that to happen. So when we talk about memorializing, it's for ourselves first. When we grow into a full appreciation, a full understanding, then we share it. Me not cook because visitor come. Me cook because me hungry. And my body want nutrient.
But sometimes
and then my mother said,
when your visitor come.
that's right, you cook different. And then now, because your mother teacher say, when you cook extra in case a weary traveler pass by. Then I saw Miss Louise the cultural nourishment. And we learn plenty. So that when somebody says, who is Miss Lou? Then we can speak beyond the statue and the renaming of the square.
I want to say something else though, because they did an interview with some of the residents right there in Augustown, just before the...
You meant Augustown?
Sorry?
Did you say you said Augustown?
In that,
Gordontown.
okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Yeah. And the people were so... The people who have shops in and around the square. They're so happy for this opportunity because people now go and purposely go there for the statue to see this place. And one of the shop owners actually now starting to think about selling things like Miss Lou dolls, Miss Lou, anything related to Miss Lou. The bandana cloth, she was even saying. And the employment opportunities that can come with that, tour guides, these kind of things. So the renaming is not just in order to help us to memorialize and pay tribute. There are other tangible spin-offs from it.
And your job that no culture and creative industries.
Right. And it's one of the things that, in short order, the ministry will speak to in terms of the further development up there in Gordontown.
That's right.
Gordontown.
By Miss Lou Square.
The Prime Minister recently announced that it is likely that funds will be allocated to the improvement of the facade surrounding the square. So we're going to have memorabilia, we're going to have this, we're going to have that, we're going to have shops, he even mentioned coffee shops, but hey, I guess the Mavis Bank and the Blue Mountain part of it going to converge, and we're going to be creating something
lemonade
else.
and pudding. You couldn't go to Miss Lou yard and you don't get, like she was always baking, a piece of pudding and some lemonade. So I volunteered to set up the lemonade and pudding shop.
And pudding shop.
I've heard that she also was famous for some gungo pea soup.
Yes.
All right,
So,
corn and gungo pea soup and all kind of things. Annette Fraser, she says she used to watch Ring Ding. I miss Ring Ding, I really do.
I used to watch it too.
And
You used to watch Ring Ding?
of course, the reruns and such.
Oh, because
Yeah, that's what I do. I used to watch
because
it.
Ring Ding come off the air from 1980.
Yeah, man. So, but I've been exposed, especially because I'm a journalist. I'm well
Okay.
learned.
Okay.
All right. We also have Elokin. Elokin says, old school sinting. I remember my mom saying the same thing. Cook enough just in case somebody passed by. Right. So we have these kinds of things passing down. Christine, thank you for all your comments them. What are the activities happening across the island? Christine, you never joined us earlier. So, some of the activities, you mentioned Kingston. She says Kingston isn't all of Jamaica. So, she wants to know, what are the other activities across the island?
I can read, but I read already the September schedule. I
Right.
can do October now.
But remember, Christine, we have it not just at home, but we have it abroad too. So Kingston isn't the world either. We have a little bit of this in Florida. We have a little bit of that in Canada. We actually have the libraries doing their thing, the JCDC
the
parish
schools.
offices,
And
the schools island-wide. Okay, so Mr. David is going to talk about the October,
All right, in October
activities.
And please ask everybody to listen out for the announcements when they are made, the times and some of the venues and so. In October, you have the Miss Lou Media Quiz, and that's going to be something that gives information about Miss Lou on most of the radio stations, TV stations as well. October to November, public consultations on language rights in Jamaica. That's going to be led by the University of the West Indies. There's this continuing this discourse about language rights, importance, the place of Jamaican language and so. On the 11th of October, Miss Lou's scrapbook launch will be done by the National Library of Jamaica, downtown Kingston. And that's basically is them putting together all the material that they could gather from the Gleaner and other print sources and making a formal, what they call a scrapbook, where people can always access this information for research or just general information on Miss Lou. On the 13th, there's going to be a debate, Louise Bennett for national icon, and that whole debate about if she should be a national hero or so will come up, and that's at the University of the West Indies.
Because she's an icon already.
Yes, but I think the real issue is about becoming a national hero. The 17th, Write On, Publishers and Writers Seminar, again at the National Library of Jamaica, downtown. Also on the 17th, later that day, the annual Walter Rodney Lecture will be in honor of Miss Lou.
Wow.
And on the 20th, there's going to be a dialogue on feminist strands in Louise Bennett's work.
Where is that?
And violence against women at the University of the West Indies. As I said, we'll print in greater detail the times and venues of those particular events.
All right. So just to add to Candice's question, we also have the government partnering with Fontana Pharmacy to distribute Miss Lou storyboards. And of course, those are going to be in schools, diplomatic missions, and parish offices, I think parish libraries as well. And so persons who want to can have access to Miss Lou. If you're looking for it, you will find it. Miss Lou is going to be everywhere for her centenary. All right, so all you have to do is look out for it. Go in search of the information. And I just want to big up companies and agencies like the JIS, PBCJ, that's where I know Ring Ding from, because clearly I wouldn't have known anything about it in the 1980s. But because they've been playing reruns of this thing, I have been able to say, yes, man, I remember. And then when I hear a sound, I can say, yes, I know, because of what the media is doing. And I want to encourage more persons, whether on social media, whether on traditional media, to continue the legacy of Miss Lou. Share, comment, live stream. We have so many tools at our disposal, and we need to use them to proliferate all of this information and rich culture and heritage that we want to keep, to save, to pass on. Right. So our next question, let's talk about you, Dr. Amina. You're an orator, you're a storyteller. Get personal now. Has Miss Lou had an impact, or has she had any say in your career choice, basically? Did she have a part to play in your career choice?
If I'm to be completely honest, I would say that I don't know. I really do not know. I know that when I was little, as I was sharing with David earlier, I thought that English was just a subject you learn, like how you learn geography and maths. If you go do common entrance, some go to English class, really. But I knew the language of the Jamaican people, because whenever the Lou and Ronnie show would come on, it seems to me, and I might be wrong looking back, but it seemed to me now that was the only time my parents turned on them radio. And all of us sit around the radio, like you sit around your TV and you watch the radio for the Lou and Ronnie show. So I grew up with that in my blood, like an echo in the bone, as Dennis Scott would put it. Miss Lou has become to me like the Our Father. You learn it, and it's just words. And every time you say it, there is a different layer of meaning that takes hold of you. So Miss Lou has done that for me. The stories I tell are the stories my father used to tell as an old countryman who brings story with him. And so I'm amazed whenever I go into the Anansi and Me, the Miss Lou's collection of Anansi stories. And I'm amazed to see what she has done with them as opposed to how my father told them. I'm even amazed to make some comparisons to some of the Miss Lou's Anansi stories with those documented by Martha Beckwith. So in that way, she keeps educating me about where I can go, where I can take the storytelling. But in a choice, I don't know. I can't say that she consciously, in the way Joan Andrea said, me consciously want to be Miss Lou. I can't say that I have that. What I have is a deep respect for her regard for the people's culture, and that inspires me.
You've both had interactions with Miss Lou in life and, in a way, in death as well. Talk about that.
Well, as I shared with Amina earlier, I was never really part of I was never a ring dinger. and I regret it because I remember.
Oh, you missed out. You missed out.
On a Saturday. It was on a Saturday the
Yes.
program used to come. And my brother at the time was doing some activities up at the University of the West Indies each Saturday for a period. And our aunt who used to carry him up there had some links to the show. And on more than one occasion, the opportunity presented itself, but it just never worked out. And I always regretted not going. I remember when she came back, I think around 97 or so.
The opening of Emancipation Park.
There was talk about doing a special one-off ring-ding concert and this kind of thing. And it always dawned on me. I remember they had a program there and they're asking people who were ring-dingers to stand. And there are several people in that auditorium today who were ring-dingers. That's what they used to call them, no? But I met her when she came back to Jamaica in 1997. Because she came for one of the events she came back for was to the opening of Emancipation Park, and I remember that caused quite it was such a outflowing of love for Miss Lou. You know, they had this crisis management with people wanting to come into the park and all this kind of thing. She was also going to be recognized, I believe, by the Institute of Jamaica at the time, where I was working, and I had the opportunity to meet her. Personally for the first time. And I remember holding her hand, it was the softest hand you ever feel. And the smile, you know?
Yeah.
And so it did something for me because I always, you see the pictures and you know the face, but to greet her, she was always so warm, you know? And everybody, I mean, you know, you have the protocol people around her because she was an official guest at the time and so, you know, trying to keep people at bay and so, but everybody wanted her and she wanted to be around everybody just as much. The other occasion was after Miss Lou had passed, and they had when her body was lying in state at the National Arena, members from the culture sector were asked to act as guards of honor for the body. And I was one of those persons who was asked, and it remains until now one of those greatest and most important things to me.
Yeah.
It was a way of me kind of giving back and recognizing and contributing and saying thanks. Because I remember, you know, they taught you how to stand and you bow your head and you hold your hand this kind of way. The military were there as well doing their part. But I remember, I think we got about half hour, 40 minutes stints each. And I remember standing still for the whole time because I said, boy, I don't want nobody to feel like this is Miss Lou, you know what I mean?
Yeah, such reverence.
So it was a way for me to, you know, just to say thanks.
I had a wonderful personal relationship with Miss Lou. I first met her in 1979. It was although I believe I've always known her, but to touch her in 1979 was the International Year of the Child. And I went to tell a story on ring ding. And I remember saying to Miss Lou, I'm so nervous to meet you. Me tell her a secret, you know. When it's time for me to tell this story, she said, oh, no, clap her because she's nervous. She bawl it out. She bawl it out. And then, of course, we visits to Gordontown and so on and so on and so forth. You can't go to Canada and not visit Miss Lou. Impossible. So we had that. But there are two other experiences I had with Miss Lou, which are in my blood. One was that I did the last interview with her on her last visit to Jamaica. There were 2 interviews done that day. Ian Boyne did one and I did the other one. But Ian went in the morning and I went in the afternoon. So I did the last interview with her, a beautiful experience. And the final one is that when her body was returned to Jamaica, I was selected as one of the 5 people from the culture sector who went to the airport to receive her body, and it was such a tremendous honor.
What is your favorite Miss Lou piece?
No, Jesus.
Anyone are saying at the moment? Anyone which is relevant?
You must ask Amina for read one.
Yeah, maybe. But anyone... No, this is the thing. I don't remember being taught a Miss Lou poem.
Yeah?
No, I don't remember sitting down to study them. But there are so many I know from beginning to end, because where I went at primary school, my primary school class teacher, Mrs. Walcott, was such a fan of Louise Bennett that she was always reading Louise Bennett poems to us. And recently I remembered a snippet of one, and I say, did I make it up? Me dear cousin Jim. Me depan flim. Me hacking like a war. Some call me movies extra, but me call myself Flim Star. And I'm saying, did I make this up? Where it come from? And so, of course, I went to the expert on Louise Bennett, Professor Emeritus Mervyn Morris. And him find the poem for me from 1951.
So you had internalized it?
Yes!
David? She kind of said her piece, you know, so...
Yes. We don't perform.
No, it's me. As I said, I observed Miss Lou. That's what I did when I was growing up. My favorite thing is the song with Pele, Janko, sit down, Pantrita, pick off the blossom. And I remember one time listening to her recording of her explaining that thing about the Pele Janko. The imagery, you know, of this Janko sitting down, I pick off blossom on the treetop. I'm like, okay, what's the significance of that? And so, but that particular song has always stuck with me. And I always like to listen to her renditions when she does it. I'm not a person who recites poems also, but for me, the thing was that somebody actually did all of this work at a time when nobody else would have.
Yeah.
And if you were to compare Miss Lou and what she did at her time with probably a scholar trying to do the same thing now, if it hadn't been done,
Right.
the amount of roadblocks and difficulties they would have to come up against. You're talking about memory, you know, not just talking about language, you know, and whether the Jamaican language is acceptable or not. You're talking about gender. You're talking about a woman who went and got her PhD. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think that Miss Lou was just somebody that recites and poems and writes these things and so. But she's a linguist. A very well-trained and proper trained linguist. And those achievements just can't be passed by, you know. You have to really give her her dues. You remember the argument and one of the discussions that came up at Saturday at her, at the gathering at the park, was that she studied and knew standard English to such an extent and still made a choice to study and let people understand and appreciate Jamaican language. You know, that is the beauty for me of a Miss Lou, and that is what I always remember.
There are two powerful lessons for us to learn in that. And one of them is what is the responsibility of privilege. And in that way, we could compare Louise Bennett to Paul Bogle. 500 acres of land. Him own a bakery. Him own a church. But him say, people poor. And I can't be comfortable in my privilege and not do something to advance their conditions.
Right.
And so in that way, Miss Lou is another lesson about the responsibility of privilege. The other thing that I think we need to take from Miss Lou's life is the power of support. She always had support around her, but she always gave support. I mean, how many artists say, I go up a Miss Lou yard,
Yeah.
and she tell me this. I go a Miss Lou yard and I meet somebody else and a network. So through those things we learn really that no man or woman is an island, and that all of us rise together to the extent that we help one another, and we give our thanks for being those lessons.
Yeah.
All right, and as we celebrate Miss Lou 100, the important discussions like these help us to take Miss Lou off the stage and take her with us wherever we go, because it's nice to see her on stage performing, right? But when your child speaks improperly, what is your response? When you hear a market woman going about, plying her wares and speaking her first language, what is your response?
Miss Lou said she never known no market woman. Everybody she knew who talked this bad language was a lady. The governor lady,
right.
The dressmaker lady, the market lady. She said so. And if we were to have a look at a documentary made by Sistrin called The Drums Keep Sounding, we will hear Miss Lou repeating that she don't understand how these wonderful ladies whom she knew were accused of speaking bad language,
Right.
because they were the kindest, most gentle ladies
Right.
that she knew.
So with this, what is your response going forward? Annette, we just want to say thank you. She says she's a hero in her own right, and she always listens. Oh, okay, so this is a big up for Dr. Blackwood Meeks. I always listen to Amina and Joan. I love Patois Bad, and I love you, my people. That's okay,
Thank you so very much.
That's from Annette Fraser. It's time to wrap though, because we know so we could have galang. But you know what they say? All good things.
Galang 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 galang
She's ready to
galang.
perform.
That's how Miss Lou ended her performance
Right.
on August 6th in the National Stadium when she performed at the Independence Open.
Okay.
Galang 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 galang.
All right. Okay, so we have a video for you. Not the galang. Right. But we have a video for you afterwards. But I just want to say thank you to Dr. Blackwood Meeks, and thank you, David, for coming in and sharing with us the activities. The full calendar of events is available. The full calendar of events, that's available on the JCDC website. That's jcdc.gov.jm. Where else can persons find it?
Well, the JCDC, as I said, has, and we have these booklets of the activities for Miss Lou 100.
Right.
So you can make contact with the Ministry of Culture. And by the way, just in closing, I wanted to thank, in a real way, Amina. She's a member of our national committee for Miss Lou 100. But also, this entire activity has really been spearheaded and led in no small way by the Minister, Minister Grange. And she really has taken this thing on and wants to see how it is that all the issues we have raised about language and the importance of it and what it means to Jamaica, I really dealt with and put it out there, as well as celebrating Miss Lou, who really is not just an icon for Jamaican language, but also, since gender falls in that ministry as
Right.
well, is an icon for gender in Jamaica.
And we are going to be celebrating her as an activist, a gender activist, later in November.
Right.
So stick around, watch this space for more of that. You can also get the calendar of activities from JIS. You call us, you visit our website, you send us an email, or you leave a comment under this video, and we'll be able to share with you the activities. If you have a question, because we're not taking any more, and you didn't get it answered, not to worry. We'll ask our guests to kind of stick around for a little bit afterwards and answer some of your questions, and we will post them. Remember, our audience plays a major role in our show, so if there's somebody you want to see on our program, let us know. Send us that message, and we'll try our best to accommodate that interview. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Jamaica Information Service, JIS Voice, JIS News, and you will get to see who is in studio next. We do this every Thursday live on Facebook, and I've been your host, Vanessa Silvera, and this has been Studio 58A live. Listen, no, Myrtle Grant, I see you. No more comments, no more questions till afterwards. Thanks again for joining us. Want to lively up the place. All right, and as Miss Lou would I say, walk good and make good duppy follow you. Yes, people always forget that part. Walk good on your way and make good duppy walk with you. So we're gonna be playing that video now. Say bye-bye to your audience.
No, we're saying walk good.
So we're saying walk good, then walk good.
What's a joyful news, Miss Matty? I feel like me heart going burn. Jamaica people colonizing England in reverse. By the hundred, by the thousand, from country and from town, by the shipload, by the plane load, Jamaica is England bound. Them pour out of Jamaica, everybody future plan is to get one big time job and settle in the motherland.
What a island, what a people. Man and woman, old and young, just a pack them bag and baggage. And I turn history upside down. Some people do like travel, but to show them loyalty, them all a home up cheap fare to England agency.
And week by week them shipping off them countrymen like fire, but immigrate and populate
The seat of the empire.
Uno see all life is funny. Uno see the turn about. Jamaica lift the box bed out of English people mouth. For when them catch a England and start playing them different role, some will settle down to work and some will settle for the duel. GN say the dough is not too bad because they paying she £2 a week to seek a job that suits our dignity. GN will never find work at the rate how should I look. For all you should stay upon anti-fan coach and read love storybook. What a devilment in England. Them face the war and brave the worst. I'm wondering how them go and stand colonizing in reverse. Aye, aye, aye.
Walk good on your way and good duppy walk with you. Walk good every day and good duppy walk with you. Walk good every day, walk good on your way. Walk good, good follow you. If you just walk good, walk good.